All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Wahara Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elder bishops, and the elders of the great millstone. And peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out here toiling in this truth. And shalom to the few sisters, the Akwathium, who listen and learn in silence. To all of you, I say shalom. I'm the brother Bathakamath James Dallas. Just coming back at you with a really quick hit lesson. I'm going to entitle this one, "The Wicked Will Be Stopped. Thus saith the Lord, they have an end." And we're there, man. You know what I'm saying? Basically, at the end of the day, we're at the end of Esau's, his kingdom, man, his rulership, you know. And, of course, we know the mentality of Esau, which that mentality, to the majority of the nation of Israel has that same mentality of that these devils are going to basically rule the earth in complete and utter madness forever. You know what I'm saying? And of course I said the Israelites, Jake, which consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians of Negro descent. You make up the 12 no longer lost tribes of the nation of Israel. We know who we are now. We know who our enemies are, which is all 17 other nations outside of the nation of Israel, primarily the Edomites, man, the so-called self-proclaimed white man, woman, and child, man. And they seem to think that they're going to rule forever, man. Their rulership is, they're somehow going to be able to offset the prophecies and just rule the earth and cut utter chaos and madness forever, man. You know what I'm saying? Which is not, man. They have an end. They will be stopped. They seem to think they can't be stopped, and the majority of the Israelites have that same spirit about them. And they're going to find out that they're wrong, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the title of the lesson is "The Wicked Will Be Stopped. Thus saith the Lord, they have an end." And again, we're there, man. We're at the end of this devil's rulership, his kingdom, And just real quick, I happened to click on this video and having came up with that title, it just kind of, what this guy's going to say, it goes right into it. You know what I'm saying? That this devil has an end. You know what I'm saying? So really quick, I want to play this, and then we're gonna get into the scriptures.
Well, guys, looks like we're getting ready to come to an end here. A lot of stuff is going on in the world right now, but the media doesn't want to show it. Social media shows it, but it's very hard to find. But yeah, it doesn't look too good for the United States here. This shit is about to get ugly. You guys better pray. Get on your knees and pray to whatever God that you believe in, because some serious stuff is about to go down.
The point was at the very beginning. We'll play it one more time, that very beginning.
Well, guys, looks like we're getting ready to come to an end here.
That right there, because the title of my lesson is "The Wicked Will Be Stopped. Thus saith the Lord, they have an end." And he basically said it. We've come to an end here. So, I just thought that was fitting. So, I decided to play that. Of course, he went into some other things, how bad everything is about to get, which it is. You know what I'm saying? We're coming into the time where these devils are about to come down, having great wrath. Revelations 12:12, because he knows that he had but a short time. So, yeah, things are about to get very, very bad. To this so-called new year, which is not the real new year. 2026 is fixed to be something, man. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be interesting. We're curious to see what's about to happen. But yeah, the wicked will be stopped, which the wicked represents the so-called self-proclaimed white man and one woman and child, which are the Edomites, according to the Bible, man, who go back to their forefather Esau. Yeah, they will be stopped, man. They have an end, man. You know what I'm saying? And we're there. The end, we're here, man. You know what I'm saying? So basically, like I said, they, in their mind, Yeah, this crap is going to go on forever, and of course in the mind of Jake as well. You know, the majority of these the Israelites as well. So let me set this up real quick. Have in their mind as well that this crap is going to continue forever, man, which is the mindset of Esau. So real quick, let's get some scriptures real quick. This is Psalms chapter 49. Wow, how crazy is that? Satan, man. Psalms chapter 49 and verse 11, and it reads, "Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names." So there it is right there. The Lord is telling you that these devils in their mind and their inward thoughts, you know, in their hearts and their minds and their lives, and in Hebrew, that thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. That this crap is never going to go away. It's never going to end. There's no ending point, which is totally opposite and contrary to the Lord, man. These devils have an end, man. You know, they will be stopped, man. You know, and as a matter of fact, let's keep it going. This is Isaiah chapter 47, because hey, the Lord is letting them know, man. This is Isaiah 47, and I'm gonna drop down to verse 7 and read down a few verses. This is Isaiah 47 and verse 7, and it reads, "And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it." Yeah, these devils seem to have forgotten, like that Roy Jones. Y'all must have forgot, man. You know, the Roy Jones song. You know, the Lord is telling them that y'all must have forgot. You know. So he didn't lay it to his heart. You know, his mind. Neither didst remember the latter end of it, man. You know, the end of things is not going to be good for these devils, man. You know what I'm saying? So real quick, when you go into this word lady, because it says, "And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever." So let's go in this word lady real quick. And let's see. Yeah. There's a certain point. Well, when you go into outline of biblical usage, it says lady, queen, mistress, mistress. It says of servants, but there's another one that I want. Okay, primitive root word. Here it is. When you jump down to D, and then you go to 2, the second one, see it right there? It says to act proudly towards the Most High. Yeah, that proud man, you know, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. Yeah, that proud spirit, this whole thing, these devil spirit in them is pride, man. You know, the few, the proud, the Marines, you know what I'm saying? Proud to be an American, you know, even in sports, you know, Lions pride and, you know, cowboy pride and, you know, that whole pride thing, you know. The Lord hates pride, man. You know what I'm saying? So it says to act proudly toward the Most High. So that lady, man, that's a proud thing. And the Lord hates that crap, man. So it says, I'm going to read again, Isaiah 47:7, "And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever." That's to act proudly towards the Most High. "So that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it." So the Lord is going to go into it. Verse 8 says, "Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart," in his mind, his lob, in the Hebrew, "I am, and none else beside me," which is, that's the Lord saying, man. The Lord is, you know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. These devils are through. It says, "I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children." That's a very proud a thing to say, man, or even think, man. But watch what the Lord says. Verse 9, it says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. Thou shalt, that means your children are going to get put to death. And it says widowhood, your husband, those men that you love are going to get put to death, man. You know what I'm saying? Which reminds me of that one in where is it at? About his children. They're not gonna have enough food, and his widow's not gonna weep. You know, yeah, that reminds me of that scripture. I might try to get it here in a sec. Let's finish this though. It says, "They shall come upon thee in its perfection, in its completeness." That's the perfection is in its completeness, completely destroyed. For the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. You know, which is what this place is all about, man. You know, so witchcraft, sorcery, enchantments, you know what I'm saying? Verse 10, it says, for thou, so that destruction is coming in its completeness. That's the point. But I want to read this next verse. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, you know, and that's what, hey, the wicked shall be stopped, man. Thus saith the Lord. They have an end. He's trusted in his wickedness, and it's going to no avail, man. But it says, thou hast said, none seeth me. But the Lord sees this devil, man. The Lord's eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, according to the scriptures. The angels see everything, man. You know? So there's nothing done that can be hid, man. You know? Nothing covered that's not going to be uncovered. So, yeah, the Lord sees, man. It says, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. Why? Because the Lord, who gave you that wisdom and knowledge, man? You know? This devil had become wiser than Daniel, but the Lord gave him that knowledge to build this nigga up, to puff him up, you know, to become that prideful, arrogant, you know, a beast that he is, man, you know. So the Lord can show his power in Romans the 9th chapter when he brings him down, man. You know what I'm saying? That's going to show the power of the Lord in the earth, man. You know, so it says, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, in his mind, in his lob, I am, and none else beside me. And he's going to find out that he's not. The Lord is, you know, he is, you know, I am, you know, the Lord, man. There's only one. You can't claim that, bro. So the Lord is going to show these devils up, man. You know, rightfully so. They deserve it, man. These devils are weird, man. They wicked, you know. So they definitely have an end, man. So, oh, hey, as a matter of fact, don't the scriptures say that? Let's real quick. Let's jump over to the Apocrypha, and we'll get it. This 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Getting to the point. I knew it was going to do that. Hold on, Salakia. My Bible be tripping, man. I know it's just Satan, though. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, you know. You all should know this. This is one of those go-tos. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So if they're the end of the world, there it is, end. They have an end, man. You know what I'm saying? They have an end coming. And we're at it, you know. You heard the guy in the video. This is the end, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So everybody, most people, at least, can see it. They feel it. You know what I'm saying? So he's the end of the world, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's going into a time period, a period of time, man. You know what I'm saying? When you go into the end of the world, Matthew 24, it's going into a time period, a period of time. His time to rule is up, man. You know, and he knows that, man. That's why he's trying to hurry up and set up everything he's trying to get set up, man. You know, in the hopes that he can offset prophecy and some kind of way pull off the impossible, man, which is not going to happen, man. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, let's go get Job real quick. This is Job chapter 14 and verse 5, and it reads, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. With who? With the Lord, with the Most High. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. This devil's days are determined already, you know. There's nothing you can do with that, man. Everything is predestined, you know. It says, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Yeah, man. So this devil has to, hey, when we get to the point that this devil's time is up to the millisecond, man. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna go any further than that, man. It's over, it's done. Chalk it up, you know. This devil has a bounds, man, and he's not gonna surpass that. So he has an end, man. He will be stopped. All this madness, as crazy as it's been, as crazy as he's trying to make it, is gonna come to an end, man. You know what I'm saying? Rightfully so. This devil cannot, hey, bro, like the scriptures say, hey, no flesh to be saved, man. This dude will kill off the whole planet, man, including his own dumb self, man. You know, he's not a wise ruler, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Sirach 10, hey, that changing of the guards, man. Doing the remote, the control out of this devil's hands, man. It has to be done, man. This nigga will destroy creation, like everything. Animals are extinct. You know what I'm saying? Hell, people are extinct, man. This nigga, cancer is at the highest rate it's ever been, man. People are dying of cancer. This nigga is cutting down all the trees. The earth can't breathe. People can't breathe. Asthma, all this stuff, man. It's called the current rulers, man. That unwise king, man. He's unfit to rule, man. The earth needs a new rulership. And that's why that refreshed heaven, that new heaven and new earth, that refreshed earth are necessary, man. It's needed, We need that mercy, man. So let's keep it going because this devil has an end. He will be stopped. This is Psalms 73. And we're going to drop down to verse 17. As a matter of fact, I'll read up just to get some context here. Okay. We'll start at verse 15, I guess. No, let's start at 12. We'll start at 12. Verse 17 is the point. We'll start at verse 12. This is Psalm 73 and verse 12. It says, "Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches," man. And you see that all day, every day. These Edomites, man. So-called self-proclaimed white man, woman, and child, man. They're the ungodly. They're the wicked. They're contrary to the Lord. And these dudes prosper in the world, man. They increase in riches all the time, man. Getting richer and richer while the poor get poorer and poorer, man. Jake ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, but this dude getting more rich and more rich and more rich, man. Just increasing daily. Verse 13, "Verily I have cleansed my heart in vain and washed my hands in innocency. For all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning." But that's a good thing, man. The Lord chastens sons, man. So take that chastisement. Don't worry about that. It's all good, man. That means the Lord is dealing with you. It says, "If I say I will speak thus, behold, I should offend against the generations of thy children. When I thought to know this, it was too painful for me." Here's the point. "Until I went into the sanctuary of the Most High," which this is the sanctuary of the Lord right here, "then understood I their end." Boom, there it is. So these devils have an end. Don't worry about how they're prospering and how the riches are increasing and all this stuff. Look like they just doing so good, man. Hey, man, the scriptures say that Babylon was going to be a golden cup in the Most High's hands, man, for a period of time, because for a prophecy had to be fulfilled, man. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Now all that has been done. So now this devil is on a downward spiral. It's over, man. So them golden errors, he was that golden cup. He had his golden era. So those times are fulfilled. It's up. It's over. You don't get that back, man. Affliction is not going to rise a second time. The scriptures say that. So no, this was it, bruh. It's over for y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but this devil had to these things had to be, because the Lord created this devil for a particular purpose, man. What is that purpose? Let's get it real quick. In Proverbs the 16th chapter, in verse 4, it says, Proverbs 16 and 4, Yahweh Shemar Shai had made all things for himself. Yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. And that's his purpose. He was created for the day of evil, man. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the devil, the earth has been given to his hand. You know, he was given a great sword, which goes back to his blessing in Genesis, the 27th chapter, to take peace from the earth, man. You know what I'm saying? These people are looking for peace and love and all this tranquility and all this stuff that they're not going to receive under these devils, under this regime. It's not going to happen, man. You know, we need the new heaven and new earth. You know what I'm saying? We need the kingdom to be established, man. You know, that's when things are going to flourish, man. You know, Matthew 6 and 10, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's when the earth is going to flourish. That's when everything is going to prosper. That's when everything is going to be beautiful. You know, Yapa, you know, in the Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? So, but these devils are yeah, this is their purpose, man. You know, Proverbs 16:4. The Lord, Yahweh Shemar Shai, hath made all things for himself. Yea, even the wicked for the day of evil, because there's an evil day that's coming. You know, Jacob's trouble is on the way, man. You know what I'm saying? That evil day. You know what I'm saying? And he created these devils for that purpose, man. You know, hell, their actual, other than that, is to be those vessels of dishonor fitted to wrath and destruction. As a matter of fact, let's get that. This is Romans. Let's get that. Romans 9 and 21, I think. This is Romans 9 and 21. It said, had not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor. Let's see. Where's the point where? Let's keep reading. Romans 9 and 22, it says, what if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, there it is, because the Lord, everything, these people are going to know those names, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. You know? Reverence and fear is going to be attached to those names, man. It said, what if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known? But yeah, but his wrath as well, because the Lord is mad as hell, man. You know what I'm saying? He's angry. Like scripture saying in Psalms, I believe the 7th chapter, he's angry with the wicked every day, man. You know what I'm saying? So his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering, because he's a long suffering power, man. You know, he's long suffering. So he takes, and then when you know, people think that nothing's going to become of it, nothing's going to happen, this dude just going to walk away unscathed, walk into the sunset, hell, go into the kingdom like Genesis, dumbass niggas say. You know, nah, bruh. You know, the Lord is enduring much long suffering, the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. That's these Edomites are vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, man. You know, so the Lord's wrath and power is about to be known and seen in the earth, man. They're fitted to that destruction. They're fitted to that wrath, man. That's their purpose, other than to bring that evil day, man. You know what I'm saying? They're to bring that evil day, then be destroyed, obliterated, exterminated out of the earth, man. The Lord's going to destroy these people, man. You know what I'm saying? That's their purpose, man. And again, you know, the wicked will be stopped. Thus saith the Lord. They have an end, man. You know what I'm saying? So real quick, let's get this from the 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter in verse 7. And it reads, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work, going all the way back to the Roman Empire. You know, when Apostle Paul was writing this, he was talking about the Edomites, man. They're the mystery of iniquity, and they were already working. They were in power then, doing their thing back then. So the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Now, who is that talking about? He who now letteth will let. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, he's allowing these devils to do everything that they're doing, all this madness and wickedness, and, you know, but it has an end, you know. Until I went into the sanctuary of the Lord, then I saw their end, roughly paraphrased. We just read it. But it says, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. That's the point. The wicked will be stopped. Thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They have an end. So this devil is going to be taken out of the way. He has an end. We're there. He doesn't have much longer. That great wrath is about to happen. Revelation, the 12th chapter. As a matter of fact, hold on. I was going to add some because something just came. But anyway, it says, he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So these devils will be taken out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Soon, mind you. And these things are already written. You know what I'm saying? Because the words of the Lord are being faithful and true, like it says in Revelation 19th chapter. And the Lord is a man that he can't lie, man. His words, he says it in Isaiah 55:11, his words will not return to him void, but they will accomplish the thing whereto he sends it, man. You know what I'm saying? These words have been written. So these things are going to happen, man. We're reading it, As a matter of fact, yeah, that's what it was. Let me grab that real quick. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. And we'll end it right here. And verse 5. This 2nd Ezra 9:5, it says, For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Yes, we're there. This is the end, man. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, let's one more time, man. One more time.
Well, guys, looks like we're getting ready to come to an end here.
That's it, bro. So with that, giving all praise, hopefully this is edifying to hopefully elect, giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, World Kakwadash, double honors to the apostles, the elder bishops, and the elders of the great millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect, the Bayath Shal Dawadash, the house of David, the Bayath Shal Dawadash, Shalom.